Hi, today's presentation is about Irish cinema, and the question I'm asking is, in contemporary popular film, are there Irish culture elements found within them? I use 5 movies: Ondine, The Runway, Sensation, The Secret of Kells, and The Waking Ned Devine. On Ondine, I've done it before, and it's about a fisherman who finds a woman in the ocean, and he saves her, and the whole point of it is that they think that she's a Silky. The second movie is The Runway, and it's about a guy from South America that crash lands in Ireland, and he only speaks Spanish, and the 9-year-old boy in town is the only one who also speaks somewhat of Spanish, and he convinces the town to help the guy rebuild his plane and get him back to South America. With a few lies and just kind of funny quirks. It's a really great movie. Sensation is about a man whose father just passed away, and he gave him this whole bunch of land that he inherited, but he doesn't want to be a farmer, and he's really socially awkward, and he wants to be with a woman, and he's paying this lady to have sex with him, and in the end they end up building a partnership, kind of having like a gentleman's club. The second one is The Secret of Kells, and it's about a boy who tries to protect the Book of Kells and is helped by a fairy and named Ashley, and they end up helping each other, and in the end the Book of Kells is saved. Waking Ned Devine is a peculiar yet funny movie. It's about a man who wins the lottery in town, and there's a very small town, so there's only a few people that can win the lottery. They're trying to figure out, and so the plot is that the guy who actually won the lottery ends up dying, and the one guy finds out about it, and he gets another person partnered up with him to pretend to be the guy named Ned who won the lottery. And then they end up needing the whole town to pitch in for this lie, because this lie needs to be realistic to the person who's coming to check out if that's really Ned, and before he gives them the money. And the whole town pitches in, and except for this one lady who's known as a witch, and before she's about to tell him over a payphone, and she doesn't get to tell them, and they keep the money. Now, the 6 fundamental principles that underlie cultural nationalism in the early 20th century are the points that were said by in this book: Irish film, the emergence of contemporary cinema, by Martin McLone. He has these 6 points, and the 6 points are Irish identity. Now, when he's talking about unique, he's defining Ireland to be against the others, not Britain, not the USA, their own separate identity. In this book, The Cinema of Small Nations, kind of talks more about it, about the red hair and the land, the locals, their heritage, and stuff like that. Another important fact is that the president in Ireland in 1892 put out a statement saying that Ireland is the necessity of de-Anglicizing Ireland. That just proves that they wanted to be unique and be separated from Britain and the US. The next point is Irish viewed to continue to be a historic nation, just trying to follow back in their heritage, back to their history and their roots, not being taken over by the and just Ireland and the heritage of Ireland. And that's just the main point of that. The next one, and a very important one, is Irish nations made up of Gaelic culture and the Irish-speaking language. This is very important because the Irish-speaking language is English, which is also British language too, and with the Irish identity, back to number 1, they wanted to be away from it, but they kept the language, which reflects on number 3. The Irish-speaking in language is English, and while they kept that, the Gaelic culture was the sports, the music, the dance. Irish language was tried to kept. Well, the Gaelic language was tried to kept, which is Gaelic, and the problem is that they try to keep it, but it became more extinct. There's less than 20,000 people speaking today, and the American dominance via English. and that's how they view it sometimes, and they want to be unique and kind of stay away from that, but also have like English and Gaelic. The next point is Gaelic culture was essentially rural. This is really important because Ireland was very anti-urban, very anti-industrialization. They wanted to proceed to have a very rural aspect to them. One of the reasons being is that 50% of Ireland at the time was in farming, and they kept on wanting to push that through, the fact that they were more agriculture than, industrialized and urbanized. And even though they fell back economically for a while, they caught back up after the push in the 1950s to be a little bit more industrialized. One of the main parts of the urban is that the land. The land is more than just a drawback in movies and in cinema. A lot of Irish people take pride in their land and their heritage and where they come from, so they don't see the land as being a backdrop to a movie. It is more symbolic. It's like a romantic image of Ireland, like a whimsical feel to it. The fifth point is Catholicism. Identity was closely linked to Catholic religion. This means there was a big difference between British and Ireland. As we all know, British is predominantly Protestant, and Ireland is more Catholic. And this is a key point because this separates them greatly. The Irish like to see themselves as Catholic. Seen throughout their films and their cinema, there's always an influence, and you see them in the movies that I chose also. And also the thing is, like, church was anti-revolutionist, and it kept the woman having an ideological role, like having power within the household, like being an important figure. And major part was to have sex as an intricate role of just like to produce and to be faithful and to wait till marriage. The sixth one is Irish culture tried to be self-sufficient both economically and culturally. This is important because they're finally going to more modernism, and they try to push a lot self-sufficient, but they also kept their heritage as in, farming generation after generation, and push through that you should be sufficient, like for example also fishermen also included in the agriculture.